What is up, y'all, and welcome back to Seton Hill Studios. Hope you're having an amazing day out there so far. So today, we're taking a trip back in time for me to one of the bands that I grew up listening to, but I haven't heard in a long time. We're looking at Queensryche and a live version of Jet City Woman. This is from the Live Evolution concert. I'm pretty sure this is the DVD that my dad showed me that introduced me to Queensryche all those years ago. I remember being just floored by Jeff Tate's voice and just the overall talent of the band. But honestly, I haven't listened to him in, probably almost 2 decades. So we're changing all that today. Are they as good as I remember? I've got high hopes, but we're going to find out. But before we get going, a few ways you guys can continue to support the channel. Right down below, if you haven't already, you can hit that subscribe button. It's an easy and free way to show some love. You can also head on over to Patreon and become a member there. If that doesn't work for you right here on YouTube, you can become a channel member. Both of those are going to get you access to priority requests as well as other perks and features. And then as always, with a one-time donation through Buy Me a Coffee, you can get a guaranteed request either Steven or I'll check out right here on the channel. All right, y'all, let's get into it. All right, folks, here we go. Queensryche with a live version of Jet City Woman. Are they as good as I remember? We're about to see. I love this intro, man. Man, they might be better than I remember. Knowing what I know now, because when I first got introduced to them, I was like fresh, right? Like they were one of the first bands that my dad introduced me to when I really started getting into music as a teenager. And I do remember just being like floored by them. But now here we are like 25, 26 years later. And knowing what I know now and been doing music for a couple decades, like there's things that I see just right out of the bat that I'm like, man, they were even better. They were even better than I thought. The wrist technique with the bass player playing with the pick there. I mean, he's not, moving his whole arm. Like he's got total control over that. Super consistent, super tight. I love the guitar tones on the lead hook there and the delay as well. It's so tasteful. It's so good. And then the drums and the full band come in and that, oh my gosh, that rhythm guitar riff is just, it's so good with the lead going over top of it. Drummer's top notch. I can't remember his name. I remember as a kid, I was really impressed with the drummer, but I cannot for the life of me remember his name. I remember having a super cool big kit setup as well. And I'm fairly confident this is what I saw when I was a kid that kind of introduced me to Queensryche. So I'm super excited, man. I can't wait to hear Jeff Tate sing, man. Oh, this is like I'm a teenager again, man. Oh, they're so good.
Every time I did, you say you won't be there. You're always there. Every time I cry your name at night, you pull close and say something.
You hear those vocal effects?
In your eyes, just like the rain, washing me wet, washing me, touching your face, and I feel your heat like your heartbeat, echo in my head like a spring. What you gonna do? Waiting so long, I know you know, thinking about you. Yes, it is. There's a long way
his there's not a lot of singers where I would say their voice is like perfect, but man, he is like the ideal singer of a band I would have loved to have played in, man. His the power in his voice and the range that he has is it's incredible, and his vocal delivery is just on point. He he's got to be one of my favorite singers of all time. And again, I haven't heard much Queensryche over the last like 20 or so years, since I kind of got introduced to him as a teenager. But my gosh, man, that's a voice you don't forget when you've heard it. It's as close to perfect of a rock singer's voice I've ever heard, man. And there's so much other cool stuff going on too, right? Like their rhythm playing and the tightness as a band is just on point. I love the clean tone that he's getting in those verses. I was big into Dream Theater before I heard Queensryche, and so that tone right there kind of reminds me of like the classic clean tone that's kind of associated with John Petrucci. And I think Queensryche was out before Dream Theater, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they were. So it's not like one of them copied the other; they just have a very similar tone. But dude, I mean, I'm not even halfway into the video, and my question's already been answered. Are they better than I remember? Are they as good as I remember? No, they're better. They're they're unreal, man. What a band, dude. Oh,
It puts you out of my mind.
look at that technique, man.
Whenever I'm alone, I'm thinking there's a part missing from my life. Wonder where I'd be without your love. It's holding me together now.
There's so much to this concert too. Like if you look at this, like the whole band's going, right? Well, let me go back far enough. Well, the whole band's going. Lights are excellent. So whoever programmed the lighting for this show is awesome. And the way that it all kind of fades out, like when they hit that note that rings out into this second verse, and it goes to just the electric guitar player and just Jeff Tate singing, and literally the entire band just kind of melts into the blackness of the stage. There was a little bit of light on the drummer, but when it went down to just the guitar and just the vocals, it's like the whole band just disappeared into the shadows. And I just think that's so cool the way that they did that. The lighting is just matching the arrangement. It's musical lighting, really. I mean, they're following exactly what's going on. It's really, really cool.
Whenever I'm alone, I'm thinking there's a part missing from my life. Wonder where I'd be without your love. It's holding me together now. I'm watching the time take away. My fist goes longer every day. The fortunes are lost on the way that I've seen. Yeah, without you, I can't breathe. The air to me. Waiting so long, I wanna go thinking about you. Can't sit here. Woo. There's a long way. Oh, my girl. I see your face. Everybody knows just a thousand miles, and I'll be there to make the clouds go away. Time for some good stuff.
Man, I tend to get caught up in Jeff Tate singing, and rightfully so. He's a beast. But I think as a young person, I got so caught up in his singing that I didn't really appreciate how good the background vocals were. It's kind of like that the phenomenon with Van Halen, where everybody gets so caught up in Eddie Van Halen's guitar playing and either Sammy Hagar or David Lee Roth's vocals that they forget how good the background vocals actually were in Van Halen. And I think for me, this might have been the case for Queensryche as well. Like their background vocals are phenomenal. And it's like Jeff Tate sets the bar like so high vocally, and they're adding with their stuff. It's not like, oh man, I wish they weren't singing. It was just Jeff Tate. Like they're adding a ton with this, and they're spot on. And it's not like they're out here just holding a simple chord. Now the background vocal that they're singing is just kind of holding a long tone, but they're playing riffs under that. There's a lot going on, and I definitely did not appreciate that enough as a kid. This is awesome, man. Whoo. This is going to send me back on a Queensryche binge, man. Woo, I know some of y'all, the last time when Steven listened to Queensryche, y'all were like, oh, you got to check out either all of Empire or all of Operation Mindcrime at once. It might have to happen. That'd be a heck of a long video, but it might have to happen.
Oh my God, I need some blue sky.
I distinctly remember when I first heard that. So Steven, I actually started playing drums, and then a friend of ours got a bass, and Steven, we wanted to make a band, but Steven wanted to play drums. So I'm like, okay, I'll learn how to play guitar. But I distinctly remember when I heard that drum beat for the first time, when he switched to that kick pattern and the offbeat, doing the hi-hat. I don't even know what they're called. The hi-hat, I just call them sizzles, where you open the hats and close it real quick, and emphasizing the offbeats there. I remember when I heard that, I was like, that's not real. That's impossible. How did he do that? Now, 25, 26 years later, I've seen some wild things. And so, as a teenager, that blew my socks off. I was like, I'll never be able to play that. That's impossible. How did he do that? But it's just, it only really pops up. I think it only pops up one time in the entire song. And it's right there after the guitar solo where he switches that kick pattern and he adds those offbeat accents on the hi-hats. And that just, it blew my mind. It blew my mind as a kid. And it was just as cool here. And I knew it was coming. And I'm like, was it really that cool? I'm like, no, it is that cool. It was, that's so awesome to add that in there. I got to hear that again. Listen closely to the drum part. I'll point it out again when it comes. So right here. Oh my gosh. Ah, I love that ending. The drummer again, just killing it, man, with the placement of just how he approached it and how he played that. Just for a split second there, he goes to like an offbeat accent on. It sounded like a China, could have just been like a trash cymbal or a regular cymbal, I don't know. And he goes to it just for a split second before they wrap it up and end it. And man, they're not as good as I remember. They're so much better than I ever gave them credit for. And I gave them a ton of love and a ton of credit as a teenager, but it wasn't enough. They're unreal. The playing, top notch. The writing, top notch. The live delivery, unparalleled. They are so much better than I remembered and gave them credit for. Those guitar tones, the rhythm guitar tone was just so punchy, so tight, so in your face. The bass tone from the beginning, when it starts off with just the bass and the hi-hats, you already know it's going to be good. Like, his bass playing was killer. He's switching between picking, he's switching between, playing with his fingers, and it's just phenomenal tone, phenomenal playing. He's singing while he's playing. It was just, man, that performance took me back. This live performance was my first introduction to Queensryche all those years ago, and man, I had a good one. My dad introduced me to so much good music. Some of it I held on to like this. Some of it I just heard in passing and forgot about. But my gosh, man, they were absolute monsters. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to some more. It might be time for a full listen through of like Operation Mindcrime, which I have not done in probably 2 decades. And same thing with Empire. Whoo, man. Honestly, that was one of the most fun videos I've ever done. Like, getting to kind of relive that after all these years, and honestly appreciate them even more is just, I didn't even, as a kid, I'm like, man, I don't think I could appreciate them anymore. And then now, after all these years of doing music, it's like, no, you didn't appreciate them enough. Oh my goodness. Whoo. All right. All right, y'all. Make sure that you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, hit that notification bell so every time we drop new content, you guys can be made aware. And as always, we'll see you on the next one.